Hello and welcome to Dare to Defy 2. Now, this is probably a stage where everybody just decided to take it easy. I can't blame them. I mean, the stage is not exactly the most difficult or challenging. It might seem a little bit scary because, you know, Odin had 90 something or I don't know, 100 something turns, and this is like, no, you have to do it in 60 turns. You might be like, oh, they have to have a lot of HP. No, they don't. Oh, they have to have really complicated gimmicks. No, they don't. Everybody decided to take off turn damage here because it works. It's pretty easy with off turn damage because number one, they don't have that much HP, and number two, they want to actually take turns. Their biggest strength, I would say, is the fact that they actually have the abilities. Like, they do have mechanics that allow them to take turns, which is exactly what they want. Unfortunately for them, off-turn damage dealers are like a dime a dozen, and some of them are really powerful, like Kane and Orin, for example, right now. And like, probably a lot of people have had Kane built since the start of Shinryu, just because number one, he was the first FR, and number two, he's like known for being a long-lasting unit, so he was a very good investment back then. So I'm fairly sure if people who had him, well, this is the place to use him, especially if you have his FR. Like, the stage doesn't require you to have a really complicated FR purely because they have so little HP. Now let's talk a little bit about the bosses. The bosses themselves have a couple of mechanics worth noting, kind of sort of, just so you don't get surprised by them. So they have 2 HP thresholds. Those 2 HP thresholds, the only thing that they do there is they inflict you with speed down. And it's not even a frame buff, it's actually just a general speed down, which is weird because they have like an AoE brave attack that inflicts you with a defense down. And you might think, oh, that means that their speed down is also like frame buff. No, it's not. It's a generic buff. You can quite literally like buff over it and you won't have any problems. The way they help themselves a little bit is through one of their AoE HP attacks. When you see them saying all, at one point in time, they are going to... It's actually pretty consistent the way that they do. They first do a brave attack which inflicts the defense down, then they do a targeted brave attack, and then they do the HP attack, which the HP attack will actually push you back. Their little bubble will actually push you back to one of their turns. So it's not a number of turns per se, it's they will push you back until one of them has the next turn, which is a pretty cool mechanic and really good for off-turn damage dealers because you want them to take a lot of turns as an off-turn damage dealer, and this team is basically built to take advantage of that. Orin is an off-turn damage dealer who needs to counter, but the problem with Orin is the fact that he will not do any off-turn damage, let's say, if people don't target him. Fortunately for him, he's a cover tank, so which is the reason why I brought Celeste, because Celeste actually has off-turn damage, not on her turn or by somebody hitting her. She just has off-turn damage when the enemy has a turn because her trap goes off, and she does damage to the enemy. So she doesn't need the enemy to hit her, which is the good thing. And she has a taunt, which is good for Orin because Orin needs that taunt, or he needs somebody who isn't Kane up in the air not taking any damage to be the one who's actually getting targeted so that he can cover for them. And Celeste doesn't necessarily need to get hit, so they work really well together. Plus Celeste is like not relevant for this Dare to Defy. She's gonna have like her banners are ages away, so I felt like it was a really safe bet to just put her here, because yeah, she's not going to be extremely useful. And what you just saw there was Orin getting stunned. That actually can happen if they break you during the during their fourth time. If they break you, they will actually stun an enemy. Now that usually doesn't happen for Orin. The problem was there because he usually recovers bravery, but they can do that. They caught him in a really unfortunate situation there in order to be able to stun him. Orin usually does not get stunned by this. So if you're not very careful and your bravery is not high, and they can actually break you before, let's say, you recover bravery or something like that, then you might get stunned and the stage might actually prove to be difficult. Otherwise, I personally didn't think this was too difficult of a stage. Kane is here because he does a lot of damage. He has a force weapon that I don't care to use on any other stage because it's a really bad force weapon. So I was fine wasting it here on a bunch of enemies that just don't have a lot of HP. So the force weapon actually does help a lot, because combined with the off-turn damage to summon his own BT phase and the fact that he has an ultimate weapon equipped, it was bound to do some damage, whereas in other scenarios it was gonna be pitiful. So I opted to bring Kane here. And because this is enough of a stage for him to carry the damage. And it's not just him, quite frankly. Everybody's doing a lot of off-turn damage, and the bosses are helping out a lot because they are like, let me delay you so that I can help get the off-turn damage off. And I personally like counter teams. The only problem with counter teams is the fact that it takes forever to finish the job, and there's that little delay that they do. Unfortunately for them, Orin will always counter them almost always out of that delay, so it's not like I'm losing that many turns. But it doesn't matter because I still appreciate every turn that they give me. Actually pretty funny. Yeah, so this was mostly easy, I would say. Fairly. Celeste she's purple, she has her OD. Orin is blue. Kane is fully built. Orin is fully built. Yeah, that's very much the team. That's pretty much the off-turn team that I decided to go with, because I know Gladio's coming up with Charlotta, so I didn't want Gladio here. I decided to use Orin instead. I know Galoof is supposed to be coming up, so I'm not going to be using Galoof here, and I know that Orin doesn't get anything major in the next upcoming stuff, so I'm fine using Orin and Kane here. Same with Celeste. Mostly characters that I know in terms of forecast are not going to be any like super relevant for any upcoming content. I mean, Orin can always bite you in the arse because Orin is like he's probably the best cover tank that we have right now, so yeah, he might be useful, but at the same time I also have wall built, I have Gladio, I have quite a couple of other units that made me think that I won't be missing Orin necessarily in the upcoming fights. I also fiddled with the idea of having Ace here, but quite frankly he just wasn't pulling in the numbers, and having an extra wasting which is actually wasting a BT unit here, a BT plus unit, because I have Ace BT plus. Felt like, I don't know, it didn't feel good for me. So I decided not to bring Ace here. not to lock him to this stage. Plus I have an ultimate weapon for Ace that works for him, so I have no reason, because I have it for Cam, so I have literally no reason to waste 2 ultimate weapons on a stage of this caliber. So yeah, this is definitely by far the easiest stage that we have had thus far. It's not really that difficult, and we are approaching the end here, and I'm just doing shenanigans to kill him faster, cause holy I don't necessarily want him to get an extra turn. I'm at full HP. Everybody is healthy and he's like at 2%. I think I can kill him before he gets an extra. And with all of Kane's insta-turn shenanigans, we actually do manage to do it. Yeah, that was pretty much my run. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.